Hey, you're probably thinking, who the fuck am I? Well, allow me to answer that question. My name is Marcus. I like to play video games. Who would have fucking thought? I play video games. When I was in middle school, I put videos on this channel. They're awful. Don't watch them. I don't know if this intro video was necessary, but I thought that this being the first video I was going to drop in a long time, being so serious, I figured might as well give him a little intro to warm him up. But I like to talk about video games. That's why I'm here. So, without further ado, let's talk about some video games. Okay, so let's get the obvious out of the way now. Is it clickbait? I mean, no, a video game never reached out and stopped me from falling off a cliff. That's for sure. However, don't you remember the last time you played a video game that moved you? Think about that question for a second. I'm sure at some point you've experienced a game that made you laugh or cry or really start to think about how you live, maybe. In this video essay, or whatever you want to call it, I want to explore this topic. The video games that moved you. The video games that really pushed you to another level. Or really made you think. And maybe the last one for you was Red Dead Redemption 2. That one's topical. Despite having not played it yet myself, I've got friends that won't stop raving about it and how the story was enough to move them to tears. But maybe for you it was a much more niche JRPG, like Persona 3 for example. I use that example because I personally just re-experienced the game again, and I now remember why I bawled my eyes out. It's different for everyone, obviously. But I'm sure, unless your heart's made of stone, you've played a game like this. Now, in order to really show off what I mean, let me tell you my story. If you wonder why you should care, the answer is maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you should just take it as it is, a story. Just like the stories in these games, but if you aren't careful, you might find a connection, just like I did with these games. Alright, so let's talk about middle school. I can already tell I'm stirring up some memories in whoever is watching. Probably cringe-induced and painful ones. I know I had my fair share. I actually started this YouTube channel back when I was in middle school. Feel free to travel back and watch those videos. Not great, I'll be the first to admit, but I like to look back and see how far I've come. Back on topic now. While we're talking about middle school, let's talk about Kingdom Hearts. Specifically, Kingdom Hearts 2 on the PS2. When I was young, money was kind of hard to come by, and by the time everyone was onto the Xbox 360 and PS3, I was just around to getting a PS2. That was fine by me, however. I always felt drawn to older, more niche titles anyways. Kingdom Hearts 2 was one of those games. Maybe it's wrong to call Kingdom Hearts niche now, or maybe I'm overestimating just how mainstream the series is, but either way, back then, I had never heard of anything like this game, and neither had anyone I hung out with. I popped the game in, expecting nothing, and was promptly delivered nothing when I played that Roxas tutorial for about an hour. Looking back now, the game certainly had flaws, but I remember the moment I fell in love with the game. Spoilers for the beginning of the game that came out in 2005, I believe, but when Roxas is close to leaving the simulation, he fights Axel. I couldn't believe my eyes. I also didn't really understand what was happening either. I'm sure no one really did, considering how convoluted the games had become by that point, but however, I knew one thing. For the first time in my gaming experience, I could see genuine passion for writing behind these characters, and I could see real emotion in a game for the first time. Seeing Axel come at Roxas with everything he had, and then Roxas popping 2 Keyblades out of nothing was the hypest shit, and you can't tell me any different. From then on, the game had me. I skipped homework to play this game. I turned friends down to play this game. I stayed up well past my bedtime with some shitty headphones plugged into my massive brick of a TV to just keep playing. This game made me forget the world for a bit. That was just what I needed at the time. Now, let's get back to middle school. Everyone experiences this world differently, but my experience with middle school was absolutely horrible. no exaggeration. Fair warning here for this topic is very near and dear to me, and I'm going to get in my feelings a bit, and I'm going to talk about some personal shit, so warning if you aren't into that. Now, if you do want to continue with my love letter to gaming as a whole, then you're welcome to stay tuned. Middle school was about where I realized I hated myself. Now, I know that sounds all kinds of edgy and dumb, and believe me, I realize that. However, this wasn't the same kind of I hate myself that the edgy kids who took up the phase for a year and then dropped the act had. This was the kind of I hate myself that no matter what I did, it wouldn't go away. Without getting into too much detail, my home life wasn't anything great. Certainly could have been better. I wasn't physically hurt, but I came away with my own sort of scars, in a manner of speaking. 6th grade was when these problems decided to manifest. Every day felt like a chore, and nothing felt like it meant anything. Even as a kid, some days I woke up and didn't want to be awake. That's fucking sad to think about, considering how young I was. I'm not cured now by any means. I'm still a little fucked up, but at the end of the day, I'm better. I think what helped me sort of figure out myself and give myself some sort of self-worth along the way was video games. I certainly wasn't getting it anywhere else. Alright, now let's tie this all back to Kingdom Hearts 2. Kingdom Hearts 2 was the game I happened to be playing when all of this set in. I watched Sora and company overcome every task one after another, from Disney Worlds to Final Fantasy Worlds. They battled it out with the Heartless, and I'll be damned if I didn't feel like I was right there with them. Days didn't seem so horrible, because in real life, sure, I hated myself and I didn't want to go home most days, but at least at home I could play Kingdom Hearts. And I did. An obsessive amount. I skipped homework and grades started to slip because of that shit. Public service announcement time. I don't condone skipping homework and all that jazz to play Kingdom Hearts. Having a high school diploma is probably better than playing Kingdom Hearts. Probably. Anyways, I hated myself. But with Sora, Donald, and Goofy, I hated myself a little less. I could forget that life was kind of shitty for a while and fall into a world of fantasy wonder. And because of this game, those horrible nagging thoughts of how much I didn't want to be around could be pushed away for a little longer. This was a watershed moment for little Marcus. Suddenly I had a way of coping. I played everything from FPSs to RPGs. I watched Dante fight his brother on the edge of hell. I saved the president's daughter with Leon. I found meaning in the phrase Memento Mori with Persona 3, and I laughed like a motherfucker with Tidus and Yuna in Final Fantasy X. All of these stories and characters became like a second family to me. And I know I speak for a few people out there when I say this. We all found a way into this beautiful community, and despite the politics, the scandals, and just plain bad games that come out, we all found our way into this community for one reason or another. For me, these games inspired me to find my favorite art form, and my best outlet ever, writing. If it had not been for the stories and characters in these games that I love, I would have never found my passion for writing in all forms: storytelling, script writing, songwriting, poetry. Hell, I even like to write raps in my spare time when I'm feeling fucking scrappy. I guess the point of this video is for me to write my own love letter to video games. Old and new, good and bad, niche and mainstream. I wouldn't have had any of my favorite hobbies had it not been for video games. I found writing because the stories in my favorite games inspired me. I found a love for cars because I fell in love with the Need for Speed franchise at an early age. And I found a passion for PC building because my first computer was actual garbage and couldn't run Minecraft back when that game was new. Maybe I'm talking to no one, and this rambling means nothing to anyone who clicked this video. It's possible, but I'd hazard a guess that many people have felt this. I feel an intangible tether to these games. Maybe you're like me, and these games and characters pulled you through some tough times. Maybe gaming introduced you to some of your favorite friends. Maybe you just love the rush of a good competitive game. If you clicked this video, I almost guarantee you know what I'm talking about. So that's my love letter to gaming, and my love letter to the community too, as well. After all, my best friends are with me because I fired up a game with them one day. Hopefully this video entertained you, maybe. If it didn't, that's fine, I'll try harder next time. The next video won't be so sappy and sentimental. Thanks for listening, though, and be kind to each other. We only get so many trips around the sun before it's all over, after all.